Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church. I'm here again talking about the book of Proverbs. This is our second week to do that. And today I want to look at chapter 6. Now, specifically, I want to read chapters 16 to 19. But before I get to there, I want to look at a few things in the chapter itself. In my Bible, this chapter is entitled Lessons for Daily Life. Well, the whole book of Proverbs are lessons about daily life, so that's not surprising. But here we have some specific things in this chapter, and I'll just touch a little bit about them. And it goes on at some point in verse 3 to say, swallow your pride. Pride usually gets people into trouble. And verse 6, it says, take a lesson from the ants. They're such hard workers. And then verse 10 says, get a little extra sleep. Helps you do more. And verse 12, it says, don't be around people who are wicked, who do awful things. Uh, and we get to verse 16, and we have some very, very specific things that it talks about. So let's look at it. Verse 16 to 19. There are 6 things the Lord hates. No, 7 things he detests. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that kill the innocent, a heart that plots evil, feet that race to do wrong, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who sows discord in the family. Well, I don't usually talk about things you don't do, but that's what's here today, and I'm talking about Proverbs, so it's what we'll talk about. And it's really strange the way it's written. It's as though the author was thinking about one thing and then kind of added something else, because he says, there's 6 things the Lord hates. Oh, no, wait a minute. No, there's 7. Now, if you think about it for a minute, if God himself hates it, maybe we should too. I mean, that's a really strong word here. God hates. God is a God of compassion and love and grace, and we know that from the life of Jesus. But he also has things that are simply not acceptable. And here they are, or at least this list. Haughty eyes. We don't really use that word much anymore. It means eyes that look down on others. It would be eyes that are super critical, that looks for bad things instead of good things. It says, don't have these eyes. Don't look at the world that way. Don't look at people that way. Now, I know there's some people that have psychological problems, and they see evil everywhere. And I believe they're evil people. I don't believe that everybody's born good. I wish that were true, but the evidence is solidly against it. He says, haughty eyes. Then he goes on, a lying tongue. I don't know about you, but if somebody lies to me, I'll give them another chance. But if they lie to me several times, I'm not going to believe anything they say. I don't know why people do. If you know of someone who simply doesn't tell you the truth, whether it's a personal person or it's someone in the larger community, why would you believe anything they say? God wants us to be examples, and being dishonest is not the example he wants. Hands to kill the innocent. Well, here the context is probably not what we would think today. Obviously, it's talking about murder and that sort of thing. And I know how you could tie this to lots of things, but let's say hands that intentionally try to harm people, even though they don't have anything to do with it. This is a heart that plots evil. I've run into a few of those people. They are hard to love. They are hard to have compassion over. And God, I don't know what God does. I don't know how God deals with them. He just says he hates it. Talks about feet that race to do wrong. A false witness who pours out lies. And a person who sows discourse. Now, all of these things point to what God doesn't want. So what does he really want? Well, the opposite. He wants people who have eyes that recognize the goodness and the uniqueness of every person. He wants people to tell the truth so that, as it says in other places, your word is a bond. I don't know about you. I know I'm getting old, but I don't like contracts. I know they're necessary. I know that without them, you can get into big problems legally and so on and so forth. But I like to deal with people who tell me, here's what I'm going to do, and I know they're going to do it. It's harder and harder to find those folks. He wants hands that build people up and encourage them and pat them on the shoulder or shakes their hands. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're a part of my life. A heart that reaches out and plots, what can I do today to help somebody? What can we do about lifting people up and strengthening them? And a person whose goal is to create harmony, not disunity. Here, this proverb tells us what God wants for you and for me. And even though we may not reach this standard every moment of every day, it's still the place where we seek to go. And I hope that describes you. I hope that today, if you haven't been before, you will today decide to become the person that's described here as opposed to the one that God hates. Well, thanks so much for listening. If you have a concern or a need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. God bless you. I'll be back tomorrow and I'll share some more from this little book of Proverbs.